T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with
Holy geckos! What is good, everybody? You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy, MJ. If this is your first time tapping in, do your boy a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. That way you're on top of every single podcast I drop here on the Snake Trap Sessions channel. And that way you catch every vlog that I drop. Pretty heavy on the content when it comes to this channel. So if you're into reptiles, if you want to learn more about reptiles, if you want to see who is who are the up and comings, all that stuff, this is the channel you're going to want to subscribe to. But what is good? Happy Sunday, man. What's up, all my trappers? See early birds up in the building. I'll get to you guys in just a second. Also, guys, before we move forward, you guys already know, very important that we hit that like button. Very, very important. So let's make sure we're letting the guests know that we're enjoying the information, the heat that he's spitting out, and smash that like button for my boy tonight, okay? But like I said, what is up with everyone in the early birds? I'll get to you guys in just a second. You guys know how we roll things here. Freshest and bestest rodents delivered to your doorstep. One and only place for that is coldbloodedcafe.com. Shout out to Steven and Desiree supplying the freshest and bestest rodents to the hobby. Go check them out. $30 flat rate shipping. Literally the best for many years running. Cannot wait to see you guys in a couple days, throughout 3 days or so. It's going to be heavy. Can't wait. Shout out to Steven, Ashley, my bad. Shout out to Steven and Desiree. Cannot wait to kick with you guys soon. Desiree, do not get mad at me. I'm sorry. There is Steven and Ashley. That's Focus Cube. I'll talk about that right now. Shout out to John and Alex over at Sim Container. If you got eggs, put them inside of a sim box. Got super dwarf eggs cooking in sim boxes right now, 4 to be exact. Got 30 days or so before those are due. Cannot wait. But yes, man, put those eggs inside of a sim container and you can thank me later. If it's a sim, it's a win. Shout out to John. Shout out to Alex. I know I'll see John this week. I don't know if I'll see Alex. He's very hit or miss at the shows. But either way, go give him a follow. Go see what they're all about. Big homies right there. And then here we go. Steven and Ashley from Texas. All day, every day. Focus Cube Habitats. The Focus of enclosures are now here. It's epic. They have amazing custom PVC boat enclosures. I got a lot of things in the works with these two. So go check them out. Instagram. Go to their website. See what they got going on, and go get yourself a Focus Cube habitat. Your boy is going to be sitting in a room full of Focus Cubes here in the next month or so. Be ready. It's going to be epic. But thank you, Steven and Ashley, for your support, and just keep killing it. You guys are smashing it. And then who's been smashing it for I don't know how many years now, since the 90s, Stainless steel racks made out of the United States. That's Freedom Breeder, baby. Thank you to Jesse and the entire Freedom Breeder crew for all that you do. Thank you for the support. You guys are awesome. Big dog shit right here every day. Yes. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate your support. And I know I'll see you at Tinley for sure. It's going to go down. So hyped up for Tinley, man. I know you guys. Drop a comment too. If you guys are going to Tinley, let's get pumped up here, okay? This is the last episode before you're gonna see me sitting in front of some legends at Tinley. So just be ready, okay? It's gonna be amazing. Shout out to my boy Miguel Garcia, always evolving pythons. I hope you're safe, dog. I knew you're gonna get hit with the hurricane. That's the thing with Mexico. You spend more than 3-4 days in Mexico, chances are a hurricane's about to hit you. But I hope you're safe. I know you're coming home soon. Get your ass back. The hobby needs you. This is my boy right here, man. Please go give him a follow. He has amazing ball python stuff going on. Kills it on the YouTube game. He's been consistent for going on 5 years now. Inspires the shit out of me and many others. Miguel Garcia, always evolving pythons. Shout out to the big dog Miguel. Shout out to Tina. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to the 2 kids that are just holding it down in the family as well. Ace and Aubrey. I love the whole family, man. They've been huge support for me since the beginning. And yes, go give them a follow. Go check them out. Always evolving pythons, always killing the game. And this guy right here doing amazing stuff with amazing basins. That's right. My man, Alan, very diehard, very passionate about working with these basins. If you're into boreal snakes, if you're definitely into basins, go give this guy a follow. He is working very, very closely with these. I'm telling you right now, there's some things going in his direction. And, he has already bred basins, and this year's looking like it's going to happen again. So my boy Alan is not playing. Go give him a follow. If you're very passionate about basins, then go join his Patreon page right now. I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to join that. Thank you, Alan, for your support. And I cannot wait to see what 2022 holds for you, man. You're going to kill it. I can't wait. Shout out to Blake Stewart Design. Big time logo change monster. This guy is a beast. I'm telling you right now, he will change your life. If you're really serious about it and you want to do this animal thing for a full time, almost in anything though, if you mean any brand in general, this guy could help you out. I mean, he's dabbling into the reptiles, and reptiles is not even their bread and butter, but he is a reptile lover himself. He wants to do anything he can to help us, and he's actually linking up with Phil Goss and partnering up with him and doing anything he can to help U.S. Art fight for our rights. So he's just an all-around amazing guy for this hobby. Go give him a follow. Stewart Design, my man Blake Stewart. And if you are really wanting to take your brand to that next level, then talk to my man Blake. Come correct. No sticker swap fucking plan. None of that shit. Life-changing type shit. You know what I mean? Canova. Justin Gabelka, reptiles to Canova type shit. You know what I'm saying? All right. So shout out to my boy Rami. Just got the phone with Rami earlier today, man. That's my boy right here. Cannot wait to go back to a Reptile Super Show. #1 show on the West Coast by far. Do what you guys can to go out to a Reptile Super Show. And I appreciate you, Robbie, so much for your support. And then, guys, I can't even, not stress. I mean, yeah, I am leaving for a while, so it is kind of stressful on that. But other than that, I am so excited to link up with my players at Tinley this weekend. Okay, it's going to be an amazing time. So all I got to say is you guys strap on your seatbelts, strap on your hard helmets. It's going to go down big time. Shout out to Bob Ashley. Shout out to Brian Potter. I appreciate you two for throwing the sickest show that I've ever been to, period. I mean, I can tell you that. I mean, all around when it comes to just meeting breeders who've been doing this for a while, dude, nothing beats an NARBC. I'm telling you right now. So if you can, I mean, I get Tinley's, Tinley's big, right? But go to any NARBC if you can. Go to any show. I'll be telling you this every single episode. Go to a show, and it will change your perspective. It will change your mindset on everything, on how you see things, how you see certain people. You might even find out that this person you've been sticker swapping with ain't even a cool guy, or he's maybe the coolest guy you've ever met. I don't know. Find out. You only find out if you meet him in person. People can fake easy shit over the phone. They can fake who they are. They can fake what they're really all about. I'm telling you right now, I read that shit. Go to a show. Thank you so much, guys. See the show. Phil Goss, my boy right here, my dog. This guy's killing it. Been killing it for us. Thank you so much, Phil, for everything that you do. Cannot wait for the U.S. ARC auction going down next Saturday, I should say. This coming Saturday. Probably going to be one of the biggest auctions of the year. So make sure you guys are ready for that. If you're going to the show, make sure you do go to the U.S. ARC auction. And then I'll see you at the bar afterwards because that shit's going to be bananas. But yes, man, support U.S. art, guys. The fight never stops. This stuff's going to be going on throughout the year, and it's just getting started. So make sure you go down to the link, read up on what's current with U.S. art, and please go support U.S. art. Talk about it, man. We all need to stand together on this. So thank you so much if you support U.S. art, and I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much. If you guys want to reach out to me for whatever reason, get in contact. I don't know, maybe say that, hey, you should bring this person on, whatever. I do get that a lot, so maybe not that. But mjexoticscartal with an A, not an E. Hit me up on Instagram. I got a lot of cool projects going on, and I am pretty active on there. And then you could follow my podcast Instagram page as well, which is the Trap Talk with MJ podcast. Shout out to my Twitch viewers. I see my Twitch viewers going up. Respect on that. Shout out to my Patreon members. I want to say thank you so much to all my Patreon members. The Patreon page is growing by the day. We have well over 100 Patreon members, aka trappers, up in the building. I'm very, very tight with my trappers, man. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are my heart. If you out there want to support this channel more than a subscription, more than a like, and if you want to be a part of an amazing family that's growing, and then tap into a Discord with so many different channels, I'm talking about anything you could think of. We're all tapping into it. We're all going back and forth. We're all active with each other, man. I'm telling you, today you should go down, join the Trap Talk Patreon family. Down to the link below. Join any tier. I don't give a shit. I'll hook you up. Get into the Discord. Join the family. None of that Bob Smith funky shit, or you will get the boot. You feel me? And we are all on top of that Bob Smith shit. We all can smell that shit from a mile away. We're all trained like that, just so you know. But telling you right now, if you want to grow more into this game, if you want to be more than a gecko breeder, even though there's nothing wrong with just being a gecko breeder, if you want to be more than a ball python breeder, even though there's nothing wrong with just being a ball python breeder, if you want more than what you're doing right now, then this is the Patreon page you're going to want to join. Go ahead, go down there and click it right now. Okay, cool. All right, guys, what is good? Early birds, where's the early birds at? Ooh, let's see who is here. Big Mike, 1776 Exotics, Trap Talk, Patreon family member, aka Savage, my dog right here. This guy, ball python keeper, chondro keeper. You got some other stuff, but those are my two favorite things that you keep for sure. Follow my man on Instagram, 1776 Exotics. Hella. My boy Deviant Glass. What's up, Deviant Glass? Another Trap Talk Patreon family member all day, every day. Happens to blow custom pieces and is into the ball python game. What do you know? Awesome dude right there. Go check him out. What is good, Chantel, my homegirl? Chantel from Pacific Rim Serpents. You better get that rim right. That sounded funny. But yes, Pacific Northwest in the building. Thank you for being here. Trap Talk Patreon family member all day. Hi as balls, my boy Ryan. You ready for Tinley? He's ready for Tinley. Trap Talk Patreon family member all day. Hey guys, by the way, I am going to tap in. So the cool thing about my Patreon family, right? We get together every Sunday on a Zoom call. But for whatever my Patreon members that are listening right now, if you're going to Tinley, we need to all link up. So just be ready. There will be a meetup spot for all my Trap Talk Patreon family members at Tinley. Okay, so Ryan, I know that you're going, so be ready for that. Mason, what is good, Mason? Your shirt's going out. Thanks for being a player. And he's also a Trap Talk family member all day. What is good? The homie Out of Space Reptiles, thanks for tapping in. Also, Trap Talk family member all day, every day. Samurai Exotics, new Trap Talk family member in the building. What is good? Jacob, what's up, Jacob? Big player. This is Trap Talk La Familia made type shit right here. It's my boy right here. Thanks for being in the building, Jacob. I appreciate you. Julio, what is good, player? Thanks for being here. Trap Talk family member all day. The homie Sean. What's up, player? Trap Talk family member all day. The homie Patrick Rose. What's up, Patrick? Thanks for being in the building. Trap Talk family member all day. Zach 4. What's up, Zach? This guy, man, I'm interviewing him. What's up, Gray? Thanks for being in the building. Homie Gray Rider in the building. Trap Talk family member all day, every day. Oh, by the way, here we go. CJ Frazier. What up, CJ Frazier? Thanks for being in the building. Lizard Morphs. What's good, Lizard Morphs? Thanks for being in the building. TriStar Morphs. What is good? Thank you for being in the building. Wise Guys Reptiles. What is good? Thanks for being in the building. Ryan Biotechs Exotics. What is good? Thanks for being in the building. Father Blue, what's good, Father Blue? Thanks for being in the building. The homie Marlon, what is good, player? Exotics Keeper Vision, what is good? Let's see, let's do a couple more. Who else is in here? Oh, what do you know? The homie Rami, Celebrity Appearance Award right now to this big dog. The homie Rami from the Reptile Super Show, tapping in right now. What is good, player? I appreciate you. We're going to end it on this big dog because, how can you not end it on a more savage guy than this? This is my boy. Thank you so much. All right. What is good, all my gecko lovers, man? I'm so excited because I like learning more about stuff I'm not familiar with. Yeah, I'm familiar about geckos and whatnot, but the whole breeding side, keeping side, don't know much about it, only from what I've been hearing. And I've been hearing some really cool stuff. My boy Kevin here, came highly recommended by one of my number one mentors in the game, the guy who put me on everything in the beginning, my boy Kenny from Cold Blooded Only. So my boy Kenny has that kind of influence to where if he calls me and he tells me, hey, yo, this, I recommend this, Kenny just gets sonority like that in my life because that's my boy. So I got to say thank you, Kenny, for this referral, but it's about to go down because here we have my homie Kevin Moody, who's going to be at Tinley Fireside Geckos. What is good, Kevin Moody?
What's going on, MJ? Thanks for having me on. I got to give a shout out to my boy Kenny. Yeah, he put me on, and I can't thank him enough because Kenny's a real one. I mean, that's how we met, and he's just a stand-up dude.
He's a calculated player. I love that guy, bro. Like he's a guy. Like I think Kenny's so cool, and he doesn't try to act cool. He's just a cool guy. Like you know. And then you know what's another thing is like I had a relationship with Kenny all based through the phone, and we became tight. You know what I mean? And Kenny was somebody who I was dying to meet. And then when I finally met him at Tinley last October, dude, it was like being out there just chilling with you guys was kind of like surreal to me, man. It felt great to be next to the guy who introduced like the whole world to me as I have it today. You know what I mean? It's amazing.
Yeah, you know what's really funny you say about that is I think about when I met you that first night a lot and how funny it was because I like fangirled about you. I was like, yo, is that MJ? I listen to his podcast all the time. And he's like, yeah, that's MJ. Like, no big deal. And he was like, I'll introduce you. And so we chopped it up for that 45 minutes and it meant the world to me. But like, that's the kind of guy Kenny is. He's not too cool for anything. He has time to talk to anybody, and he is just so knowledgeable, and like he's been around forever. So he has seen some stuff and he knows some stuff. And he's just a good guy. He's just a totally good guy. I can't thank him enough.
You know, one thing I love about Kenny too, and like he's never gotten in the way of me wanting to get influenced by certain things, but like there was things that I thought was the vibe, and he would bring me back down to like, yo, like this isn't the vibe. You know what I mean? Right. And like he was a realist about a lot of things, and that's why you asked me earlier, like no offense about why I don't purchase from certain people, and it's because of people like Kenny, because I've had conversations with people like Kenny, and Kenny is. Like, I know, listen, at the end of the day, like, if I buy anything from anyone, there's, like, I don't buy from random people. Fuck, I mean, at this point, I don't. Like, there has to be some sort of connection, or I know you well through somebody. And I told you the reason behind that. It's because I spent going on 4 years, 2016, 2017. Wait, let's do the math here. What is it? 2022. So what, if I got in 2017. Wow. Okay. Shit. I didn't want to say that. I was hoping for. Okay. So why would I want like my whole life has changed because of these animals. So you got to understand why I feel so devoted to these animals, right? So why? And after I already have things in my freezer, things that have died for me from importers, why would I ever want to repeat a mistake like that? And especially like buy something from someone who has nothing but of this record sheet of just like terrible customer service, terrible like animal husbandry. Like it's just like why? Like I can understand if you're just starting and like you could risk stuff like that, but like when you're already having a niche type thing going on, like there's no room for that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just how I feel. Like that's my own preference. I mean, like I said, and I feel like if anyone, I mean, I want to talk to you about this right now. I mean, let's talk about you getting into this, Kevin. Like, what were some of the people that were influencing you to want to buy from them? Do you remember?
Yeah. So my buddy actually has a nickname for me. He calls me the interviewer, and I basically, and so I ask a shitload of questions. I'll be honest with you. I'm actually testing you because I did my research, and I want to make sure that you did your research. And I think it's more power to you. I think when you can sniff out some BS, that's just how you have to go about it. Because I got BS'd a lot in the beginning. I got taken advantage of. Yeah, because you don't know any of these tricks of the trade, especially with like crested geckos. You can sex an animal by looking at their preanal pores, and so a lot of the times I didn't know how to do that. And so I was sold a female, and a month later, 2 months later, I've got a male on my hands. And so those are those learning curves you go through. And so when you can get and empower yourself, that's kind of what you have to do. But it took me years to get to that point. And it only was until you met those people who didn't lie to you and like your purchase was everything and more. That was when I picked those people to mentor me. There was a local kid, his name's AJ, he runs AJD Reptiles. He's also a Crested breeder. But he was always 100% with me. He's like, yeah, it's a female, it's a male. It's going to be an excellent breeder for you. It's going to do exactly what you want. And he never BS'd me. And, now he's one of my closest friends in the industry because he was real with me in the beginning. And so you got to keep those people on your side pocket. You got to keep them close to the hip. And so that was one thing that, when I came up in this, there's some hard learning curves, but you have to be your own best person.
Right. So kind of tell us, Kevin, how far back do you go as far as, just even associating yourself with geckos? Like, is this like
10, it's been 10 years actually, which is kind of crazy. I turned 28 this year and I've been keeping since I was 18. Yeah. But I haven't really been keeping like seriously or breeding, for like the last 4 years. I really dove into it kind of head first because I was dealt with some hard stuff to where I looked in the mirror and I was like, what do you want to do with your life? Are you even happy? And what makes you happiest? And it was breeding, keeping Cresteds and all the friends that I was making along the way and the community and how embracing everybody was. And so, I made some choices. I put my money where my mouth was. And I haven't looked back since. It's been nothing but a great ride. I can't be happier. I listen to you talk about this industry and how happy it makes you. And right. I think that's why I felt such a kinship. And that's why I always listen to you, because we're alike in that same instance. It's kind of pulled you out of this really dark place and put you on the road to being actually happy and genuinely feeling good about what you're doing and not having this like internal person in your head saying, what are you doing, man? This is kind of sketchy. Like, or, what are you doing? Yeah. Are you even happy, or are you just doing a job? Or are you just going and collecting, punching in and punching out?
Yeah. So. My life was so consistently unhappy for so long to where as soon as I did get a taste of something normal that made me happy, I grasped onto it. That's when I met my wife. Like when I met my wife at the gym, I was like, I was always, every girl I met, there was some sort of bad flaw. Everyone has their flaws, right? But like these girls I with were just either really bad whores or liars, like really bad flaws, like the worst flaws for women, right? But I met this girl with no fucking mom or dad issues, college grad, all this, everything down like, and I saw it. And I remember like dating her like the first month. And I like literally didn't waste any time. The girl I was with before her, I was with for like 4 years. But I was already over this girl for so long because I was so over that lifestyle. I basically handed my ex off to my best friend. My best friend took my ex. And then once I knew that, I was like, wow, okay, that's my line to just be like, all right, guys, I got to get away from this crowd now. Cause why am I going to kick it with friends that are with my ex? Like that right there, like that was a final like nail in the coffin, which I was okay with, because by then I was already into snakes and I only had a little, but I was really into working out and whatever I saw that my wife had to offer. I was just like, I was obsessed. Like, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like I literally just like flipped the script and was just all about her. And I just knew I was going to marry her. You know what I mean? And she knew, like, I don't know, she saw this fire behind everything I loved. And, I met her with no intentions of being a breeder. I just loved snakes. And she encouraged me to be a breeder. And because of that, now I got a taste of meeting people that are into the same stuff that I'm in. Like, you think I had a whole group of friends that like really, I didn't really like, yeah, we all partied together, but like only a small percent of those people I actually like had stuff relatable to, you know what I mean? A lot of the other people, they were just fucking, they either liked me because of my drugs or because I was a DJ and like I had perks for them, you know what I mean? But really, I didn't really fuck with hardly any of them. But this right here, like the people I choose to like follow, the people I choose to link up with that shows, dude, they're all turning out to be amazing people. And I'm like so inspired, bro. Like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to my life. Just like what you said, this is the best thing that has happened to my life. And I only see it getting better. Like, it hasn't even peaked yet. So I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. You know what I mean? So dude, I'm glad we could share that. It's like that's something that you can't even really explain to somebody unless they know that feeling. You know what I mean? It's such a priceless thing, dude. Like big time. Like you can't.
Totally.
You can't that. It's nuts.
Oh, totally. And I'm the same way. I mean, like my wife, she's actually tuned in and she's listening because she supports me like that. Like she's on there. She's backing me day one. And it was the same way when we first met. It was kind of like, are you doing this? Are you not doing this? You know, her family called me the crazy gecko breeder. Like that's how they referred to me. Because she told them, she's like, he's got like 100 geckos in his basement. It's kind of weird. And so they kind of thought I was a weirdo. And then now they see me on my hustle and they're like, okay, keep doing your thing. That's awesome. And she completely supports us. She's actually getting into snakes herself. So it was kind of like meeting me and us having this kinship over animals. It kind of brought out this side in her where she was like, I never was exposed to this, but I eat it up. I love it. And so now she comes to shows with me. She's behind the booth. She's out shopping while I have to work. She's doing all the fun stuff that I want to be doing, especially at like Tinley. She's like, hey, I saw a boa. Like, do you think we can get it? Like, what do you think? And, she's texting me photos the whole show. So it's cool. It's cool. I mean, like some of our best friends we met last year, but I look at them as family now because we have a kinship. There's something that I never had before in my life, where it was like, you geek out about animals, I geek out about animals. That's awesome. Let's be friends. And so it's just been, I haven't looked back since. So it's been really amazing. It was like, it was first the Schaumburg show, and then we did Daytona. We went on like vacation, and now we're doing Tinley. It's great. It's great. I can't. If anybody's considering like going full bore into the reptile scene and like really making a go for it, I 100% applaud you because you're never going to regret it. You're not going to regret it.
Now, let me ask you this, Kevin, because you did say that you just recently went full force on things. Like how long ago was that?
It's been like a really slow increase just because I've wanted to have the animals help pay. So, I think I put 10 grand in the first year I really went for it. And then the next few years it went like 20K, 40K. And then this last year, I think I put about 60K back into it, so I'm just doubling every year because it's a volume game at some point. You have to have it to where you can have the production to make your money and pay yourself a little bit, but also realize that you have to keep pushing your collection. You can't sit back on your laurels. You got to keep with the trends. I mean, Kabilka is the number one person that I look at and emulate because he's out there buying the best stuff that he can get his hands on always. Yeah, always. I mean, he saw the paint clowns. I lost it when he bought those, but those are cutting edge. And he was like, I got to have it. I got to be on the forefront of the project. I need it. And so he's constantly out there doing it. So I can't look at myself and be like, well, I made 40 grand this year. Like I'm going to keep 30 of it. No, you got to put a good chunk back into it and keep pushing it. So.
Right. Exactly. So let me ask you this. I mean, how did you approach the Gecko game coming in with 10K? Like, who did you buy from one person? Did you spread out? Like, how are you doing your purchases and whatnot?
I think you have to be wise about it. You have to buy some young stuff and shelf them up, especially like your females. And then you have to really invest in one solid male, because the nice part about the geckos is that you can breed them to like 5 females if you want. And so if you have that heavy hitter male that you can spread around to the girls, that's how you go. So I think I spent like $2,500 on my first like heavy hitter male. And then you can get away with like some of your more basic girls because he's going to pick up the genetic slack. So that's how I went about doing it. But I kind of picked a person who had the foundation stock that I wanted to work with. And I was pretty consistently buying from them, especially since they were local. So I could see how their holdbacks were maturing. So then I could get an idea of what I would be buying into. And I think that's the important part about doing shows, is that you can show people how your investment can mature and change and grow over the years, because you don't want to put your money into something that's not going to grow. You can't do it. So
And it's also, you know, with these, when they're born, they're so small and it's really hard. It's almost like a chondro, like a lot, like how a neonate can't determine what it's going to be until like the first couple years. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
how long is it until you have a sure idea? Like, okay, I need to hold this fucker back. Like, what's your holdback eyeball game like right now?
It's pretty good, but you have to know your stock. It's kind of like your chondros. Only the breeder is going to really know if it's going to be something that's going to really be wicked, and you need to hold it back. And so, it takes probably 2 years of working with like a line of animals, or at least studying a breeder's page, right? And so some breeders aren't transparent, or they don't share as many photos just because they don't want people trying to bust down the door to get the animal. Basically, some people just are like, I don't want to deal with all of these people, you know, offering me crazy money to get these animals. So you don't have an idea. So like my own line, I'm on generation 3 going on generation 4, and I'm finally starting to understand what I need to look for and what's not going to go the way that I want it to go, and it can go and be sold. So I would say at least you need like 3 years of working with your own line. For sure.
Now let's kind of talk about, you know, the process behind, you know, let's say you buy a trio, or you buy the 1 male and 4 females, whatever, right? Now let's say you buy these at the youngest age possible. What's the timeline? Like when is a good time for? Because I mean, do you go by weight? Do you go by age? What's the perfect timing to get these things paired up?
There's a couple schools of thought on that. I'm personally someone, my animal has to be 2, especially my females have to be at least 2 and 50, if not 55 grams. And then a male, you can sometimes breed at 1.5 years of age, but they have to be at least 35 to 40 grams. I usually hold my animals back because, you know, in the past, everyone used to say, hey, you can get away with breeding a female at, 40 grams. But in reality, you were dealing with animals that were much smaller because they were more similar to wild caught stock than they were to what is available now. And people are breeding for size and structure and color. And so these animals are just getting larger and larger. And so what might have been a healthy weight at one point may not necessarily be a healthy weight now, just based on how things have been bred. Because I personally don't like breeding small males, and I don't like breeding petite females. I breed for size as well as color and pattern, just because I think that there's less of a burden on egg production. And so, you know, that's just that's my thing. But in reality, if you can breed your male at 1.5 years, but a female, you definitely have to, it's 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, let's talk about, like, for instance, the like just the upkeep as far as feeding and whatnot. Like, you know, like if somebody were to come in this and start with, like, let's say 50 geckos, like just right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
Is that putting yourself in some shit water right there? Like,
it's a lot of, I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of work. I mean, 50 animals, so the way that I keep, right, is I keep all my juveniles and I keep all my subadults similar to how you keep subadult and juvenile chondros. It's on paper towel, almost a very sanitary environment. You're constantly cleaning, you're constantly disinfecting because you don't want a bacterial infection. You're feeding live insects that are prone to carrying parasites. And so, you know, you have 50 subadult animals, you know, that's an hour, 2 hours of cleaning every night because they're pooping all the time and they're eating all the time. It's a lot of work. It's just a ton of work. And, you know, someone who is just getting their feet wet, 2 hours of work, if not longer. Because, like, when I was first starting, I was down there all the time, just looking at the animals, comparing them to other people who are working with them, really getting an idea of, like, different pattern textures and different color qualities, really studying the species as a whole. And so I would never recommend anybody just jump in with 50 geckos. I would say it's all about quality over quantity.
Right.
Especially if you really want to make a go of this, you're going to be like, okay, I've got 10 grand. I need at least 30 breeding females. I'm telling you right now, if I did it if they took my advice out of 10 grand, you would be lucky to get 3 adult females right now.
Right. Well, the reason why I asked that, Kevin, is because there's people who dump over 100K, 150K into ball python right at the bat, and they get up to 100 snakes like within the first year. You know what I mean? So I don't know what that's like with if that's even common. Do you know people dumping in that much money into geckos like in the game? Is that, I mean, do you hear of that at all or no?
I mean, I've heard of people dropping some serious coin on animals. I mean, for sure. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody drop like a 150K clip to build a collection, but I definitely know people who have spent like 50K, 80K, but they're buying the nicest stuff available. They're spending $2 grand, $2,500 on it per animal, and so their numbers aren't as high as one might think,
Right.
But it's hard to feed. I mean, a lot of people think that they can get away with feeding it's like the powder diet and you reconstitute it with water, but a lot of people are thinking, including myself, these animals actually really thrive on a more bug-heavy diet, to where you're constantly having to feed them, and sometimes babies need to be hand-fed to get them reared faster and onto food, and that takes time. You should be constantly weighing the animals to see if they're growing and not having health issues. There's a lot that goes into it. So,
dude, you want to know right now? Shouts to my boy Brandon Van Asten. Do you know who Brandon Van Asten is out of Canada? Cold-blooded.
Yeah,
Dude,
I listened to that interview. It was sick.
I want to bring him back on like as priority. Like the guy has nothing but knowledge, and he really dropped some heavy information about how he basically put all his green tree monitors on just strictly crickets. And I could tell you my male is a fucking beast, dude. And he'll like I have tricks of making sure the female eats, but he'll eat majority of the food, and he's just getting big. And so I was like, this is kind of concerning, because you just don't want you don't want the male just getting big, right?
Right.
So ever since I just did crickets twice a week, so I'll do 50 crickets one day, and then I'll wait like 3 days, and then on the third day, I'll give them some ground turkey, like just a little bit of ground turkey, because I have to spoil them with something. Like I'm not gonna not give my kids no meat. And what's crazy is, like, now that I'm doing that, the female eats in front of me now. Like, she devours it. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
Before she never used to eat in front of me, like never at all. So now she's coming more around and more like, hey, I want to eat. Like, give me some of that food. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which I love, because right now they're breeding again. Things are going in motion. So that, I felt like that's what you said about the insects, like more of a natural food source versus like powder or some, like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand calcium powder on top of actual meat and stuff, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like some people resort to this pet trade type dieting, which I feel like is not really ideal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's convenient. I mean, I have to give a shout out to my mentor who does the Pomona shows, Tracy Saltmarsh. She is, oh man, I'm drawing up Phantom Dragons. She's a bearded breeder, her and her husband, but they also do Chihuahua, and the Chihuahua are notorious for being insectivores. And she was like, I don't really even offer this commercial diet anymore. And she told me her production numbers, and I almost spit my drink out, because the production she was getting out of Chihuahua was almost unheard of. And so I was like, well, if she's getting that kind of production out of her Chihuahua, why would I not emulate that and bring that into my Cresteds, which are far easier to breed than the Chihuahua? And my growth rates have been off the charts. And all the people that I'm talking to, especially breeders, are like, oh yeah, I have started feeding insects way heavier. And it's kind of this like groundswell movement amongst breeders who are really paying attention to their animals. Kind of like you're saying, you're paying attention to their eating habits, and you're learning that is probably the right way to go about it, because your animal is now thriving. And
Right.
So that's what we're seeing with, these commercially available diets. Not saying they're bad, because I still offer them, and the Cresteds really like them. But as far as, the commercially available diet, I just think it's not as good as crickets would be. So that's all.
So let me ask you this. I'm curious. The upkeep, for the most part, like, let's just say to a normal person who just wants a normal person, but somebody who just wants a gecko, like, you know what I mean? Like, Is it pretty much easy to get a gecko dialed in for the most part, you feel like, or you know, to teach someone, listen, if you want a gecko, this is how you keep it alive, or is it kind of like is it super hit or miss? What do you think?
I think people overthink them actually a lot more than they should. I think, yeah, they think it's like rocket science, and it's really not. And by no means am I talking down or trying to talk down, because I think trying to provide the best care for your animal is ultimately the goal. But people have a tendency with, especially with crested geckos, is they come from a tropical environment and they immediately liken it to a rainforest, when in reality, these islands that they come from have dry periods where they don't receive rainfall. And so those dry periods are crucial to their health. They have to go through it to create a really nice shed.
Right.
And that's like the number one issue that we have with cresteds, is people overwatering and over misting their animals to where they can never pop that shed, and they like suffocate to death. And it's really sad. And so that's one thing that I would wish people would forget to mist sometimes, rather than being way too on top of misting, because your animals can go quite a while without being misted as long as they have fresh water. That's the one thing that I always preach, and I know you're a big freshwater guy yourself. I'm always,
right,
preaching your animals will drink from a water bowl. I know there's like a misconception in the reptile world, especially with geckos, is that they drink the water droplets off the glass. Yes, they do, but they'll also drink out of a water dish if they're thirsty enough. They'll go for it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you right now, like because I'm somebody who listens to almost the first thing that is said to me, and I feel like, okay, this is the way, like, and this is the way that you need to do it. And that was always been a little problem of mine. And honestly, when you there's a million ways to do certain things, right? But I did know a lot of people doing the same thing that was like a standard, one of the standard, and whoever wants to deny this could kiss my ass, because now all of a sudden everyone's coming out as daily water changers, when I highly doubt that. But anyways, the standard for majority of the ball python people, and they even said it on this goddamn podcast, is once every week, and because you could get away with it. But like, just because you could get away with it, why should you do it all the time? Like that can't be good. Like, I'm just thinking, like, that can't be good. And then I remember I had one male where something happened. Here's the thing, Kevin. I've gone to enough collections where I could see how much time someone spends in that room. Okay. And the reason how I know is because I've gone into rooms where the person hasn't been in there in a while. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like you just see things, and it's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And the reason why I know is because I remember when I had a job working 14-hour days, I would come into my room where like the tub was just disastrous. Like, oh my God, like this is what happens when you don't look at it for a week straight. Like this is what can happen. And I had one male drink his own shit water, and he got really, really sick. And like, he like stopped breeding. His whole year was done. He changed colors. Like, he literally looked like he was like dying, and he didn't eat for a while. Like, it was really sad to see. So I was just like, dude, this is what you get for fucking doing weekly water changes. This is trash. And this is like, this is like 2019, my first year breeding or something like that. So I was just like, and I understand, like, people have jobs, and like the reason why I'm Mr. Preach water changes because I'm home all the time now, and I could do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, if you can do it, do it. I understand you have a life and you do have, 9-10 hour jobs, but that's also what comes with keeping the animal. Like, don't blame having a fucking 14-hour job if you can't keep the animal. So like, how about you dial down a little bit? Don't be selfish. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's just what it comes down to. I mean, at the end of the day, the majority of the hobby has a hoarding problem. They really do. And they don't want to let go of things that they either can't get the money for, or they just, for whatever reason, they're attached to it. And that's not okay. Like, there's like, you think I was okay getting rid of 12 mainland retics that I was really like, I was okay after they were gone, but still, like, I had times where I was like, I'll just maintenance them and just get really sad that I'm just handing them off. Like, here I am, like, I feel like I'm being a bitch about it, but also I wasn't being a bitch. Just at that time, I thought I was, you know what I mean? But you just got to do what's right, and my life has been a lot easier. A lot, like, when I leave, I'm not stressed because I'm not putting someone in charge of all these mainland retics that could kill her, like, or him or whatever. Like, dude, got to be practical, no matter how cool you want your Instagram to look or how cool you want to be to people. Like, it's not about you. Like, I hate that people make this about them so much, you know, and it's not. It's about the animal, dude. Like, get over yourself. Like, fuck. Stupid. Anyways.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's talk about this, Kevin. I mean, at the end of the day, where do you really see the Gecko game going since you've been into it? Like, is it growing? Like, what's the pace of the growth of the Gecko game right now?
I mean, over the last 3 years, I would say like at the beginning of 2018, 2019, which really gave me the confidence to go as full bore as I did, was really the opening of the international market. I mean, right now to get a really high quality female breeding crested gecko, you're going to have to offer someone at least $6K, if not more, because there's a scarcity issue. Yeah, I mean, there are crested geckos that are available, don't get me wrong. But as far as getting into the cutting edge stuff that is really high quality breeder quality, you're going to be few and far between, and you're going to have to back channel and network and really work with people to get your hands onto stuff. Like, if there was a Gecko Patreon, I mean, it would be filled with like everybody looking for animals all the time, constantly, 24/7. I am always in my DMs answering questions. Hey, do you know where I can get a female crested gecko? Hey, do you have anything available from them? Do you have any females that are looking to go? And so I see it still growing. I think I always say to people, I think crested geckos are kind of like the wild, wild west as far as where we're at genetically. Just because you got to think about it from like a numbers game. I try to be really rational as far as how I think about it. And with ball pythons, when the game started with ball pythons, we were inundated with imports, and they were hatching them in the wild and bringing them in by the thousands, the tens of thousands. So statistically, for a mutation to occur, there was a high likelihood of that happening. With crested geckos, they thought these were extinct in the wild, and then they refound them, and then there was only a very, very small number of them brought into the United States to breed. And so, as far as our population timeline, we are now just starting to see some genetic mutations start to occur. We now have the axanthic, we have cappuccinos, which is a gene or trait that creates a translucent superform. We have a lily white, and then there are some other genes that are currently being worked on. But I mean, the future is very bright with crested geckos. They're very, very bright.
Now, I got to ask you, man. I mean, I'm going through your page right now, so if you don't mind, I want to tap into some of these species because you do work with more than one species of geckos. Am I right?
I work with. I've worked with cresteds. I've worked with Chihuahua. I currently have worked with gargoyles, Leachianas. So I've worked with pretty much all of them. So
what do you keep? But you keep all of those too currently, right?
I keep cresteds, Chihuahua, and agricole right now.
Okay, so if I'm right, these are the cresteds right here. This is a crested right here, right?
You got it.
All right. What is this? Is this? Can we explain the morph on this one? They're not morphs. I'm sorry, right?
So they are morphs, but there are people who are saying there's no point in really talking about them as if they were like morphs, and you should really be talking about them as far as like what their characteristics are. So that would be a high pattern, high white animal. That's how most people would refer to it right now.
Okay.
It's just the morphs have become skewed, and there's so much misinformation out there that a lot of people are just trying to not use morph names anymore because it's creating a lot of confusion, especially with newcomers. And we want to make it easier and more appealing for people to want to keep them, especially high-end animals, right? Because ball pythons have it easy. You can say it's a lavender albino pied, whereas we can't do that. So
this girl's so fire. So
thanks.
What's the name of this crested gecko? Like, what's the actual the what would you brand it or whatever,
Her name's Yzma. So we do kind of like chondros, where it's like you have the name of the animal and that's where the lineage comes in. So it's like the same idea. And so that's Yzma. CJ Frazier, who's in the comments, he actually produced that girl. That was something that he produced.
Dang. And then I'm seeing it. I mean, you keep these, is it feasible to keep these in a bioactive enclosure? I mean, is that common, or is it more you keep it simple? Like what's the ideal way to keep these?
There's a lot of different approaches. You can certainly keep them bioactive. And if you only have a few of them and they're going to be a display animal, I highly recommend it. It makes it a lot easier on you. And they make for a great display animal. You can fully furnish it, and the bioactive substrate just helps up. It has a for a cleanup crew, so it makes your maintenance very little.
Hey, Kevin, time out real quick. Guys, all due respect, if you're just now tapping into this podcast, welcome. But let's get the likes up. The gap for my boy Kevin, I'm not liking it. That's just way too disrespectful. Let's get the likes up right now for my boy Kevin. He's just now getting warmed up. The fire's about to be spat. Let's go. Get the likes up for my homie. Go ahead. Keep going. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's I would recommend it if you only have a few to do bioactive. You can do semi-bioactive where it's not planted, but you still have your isopods and your springtails and the base of the substrate. And then you can do it how I used to do it for my breeders, where it was paper towels and almost like a do you know copper piping insulator, or like foam tubes that you sit in a pool with?
Yeah.
So there's like smaller versions of that, and you can use those to create almost like a sanitary environment, very bacteria free. So there's a lot of different approaches to it, but I really like the bioactive. It's just too much work for me, and the lighting costs would be absolutely absurd to run high output LEDs and plant lights. It just, my back room would be an oven. So.
Okay, so I mean, what is the like typical keep as far as temperature goes? Like, what are your temps for the adults and whatnot, or in the in the ambient and all that? If you could break that down for us.
Yeah, so I like to keep them like 75 to 77. I think that's a really good temperature. It helps keep their metabolic rate up higher, so you have good growth rates and you have good production rates. But I also see that they benefit from a cooling period, especially if you're breeding. It really helps trigger the animals. So I try to let the room drop down into like the low 70s, 70 to 72 during the winter. The animals slow down quite a bit and they don't eat quite as much, but it really helps with their production come the springtime.
Right. And then usually as far as when they produce, like monitors can give you multiple clutches in a year if they're really comfortable. Is that the same thing with Cresteds? Are they constantly dropping eggs for you throughout the year or no?
Yeah, so there's usually a breeding period. Most people breed anywhere from February all the way up through, September, October. And they're dropping 2 eggs every month throughout the duration of that time. So, some people get anywhere from 4 to 6 clutches. Other people have very productive females and they'll get, 8 clutches in a year. Some girls won't even shut down. That gets a little dicey because that's really stressful on the female. You want them to stop laying at some point so they can chill out and get some of their fat reserves back. But if they're eating and they're dropping eggs, I don't see any issue with it. But sometimes people have to take their animal and put them into like a dark, cooler space to get them to shut off because it's getting into the danger zone and they have no fat reserves left and they're really not looking like themselves.
And then to also kind of, relate these to monitors, when it comes to like, the female about to lay, do you remove the males or the males always could just stay with the female?
So that's actually personal preference too. Some people do big trios. Like I know David Utera of Tiki's Geckos, he does groups where he'll have a male and like 3 females. So he'll do like a trio. But I don't do it that way. I like to do 1-to-1 because I'm very stringent about record keeping as far as what came from what. And so I do 1-to-1s, and then I usually pair a male if I see a really good visual lock the first night of them being paired, I'll actually pull him right away, and he won't even spend the night with her. But if I don't see any visual courtship, I'll usually leave them for about a week, and then I'll pull the male, and then I'll give the female a week, and then I'll palpate her abdomen to see if she's starting to ovulate and show signs of being receptive. And then if I'm not really feeling too much, I'll pair him again for a week, and then I'll finally pull him, because at that point, odds are something should have been receptive, and she should produce eggs, within a week or two.
And then what about as far as like, the female showing, like, does her hunger increase at all? Like, does she kind of like spike up when she's like building follicles or she's ovulating? Like what happens to the food intake at that point?
So when she's building, yeah, I would say that they're far more active when they're eating. You'll see larger portions of their food are gone. And then usually within that like week period, right before they're about to lay, they'll stop eating. And that's actually a really good indicator that they're about to lay or have already laid, is that you'll notice that there's no food gone from their dish, and they're too busy looking for a place to drop their eggs,
Right.
and couldn't be bothered with eating.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we were talking about, as far as the way the lineage is with these geckos comparable to green tree pythons, and there's some favoritisms with green tree pythons, like some localities that are like more, people are wanting those localities over certain ones, like Monocori or like Lyra or Kofiau or whatever, right? What are some of the most popinest geckos out there right now? Like, and maybe some of the ones that you want to talk about, you keep, like, what are the ones you're most proud about?
Most of the stuff that I keep is really more similar to like your designer chondros. So we're just breeding for color and pattern. Whereas like my Leachianus people, they are really into like your locality specific animals,
Right.
Just because there's so much more diversity across collection points. And the most popular one, and I actually had them, and then I sold the pair to fund a different project, but they're melanistic Mount Cogus Leachianus. So it's a mountain range on the island of New Caledonia that they're from. And so they're melanistic. They're like an all black Leachianus. They're badass. And then what people are doing is they're breeding them for high color red bars. So they're a black and red gecko that's about the size of your forearm. So they're awesome.
What?
Yeah,
Dude,
they're really
I want
cool.
that.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. My buddy Doug, he'll actually be at the show with us at Tinley. He'll be in one of the booths in my section. He works with them. They're called some people call the line raspberries. They're also called like Darth Mauls. So,
bro, what up with these right here? I love
those are
these.
those are Chihuahua. Yeah,
These
those are Chihuahua geckos.
Fire, bro.
Yeah, they're sweet. They what's really cool about when they fire up is they kind of almost like glisten like a mineral or like a gemstone. They're really cool. Really, really cool. They have a prehensile tail too, which is cool. So you can see them wrapping their tail around your finger. So It's like a fifth appendage. It's really awesome.
I mean, do their tails fall off just as easy as the other geckos do? I mean, are they? I mean, I heard that's like a common thing, but that's like you almost don't want that to happen because those tails don't grow back, right?
So Cresteds, their tail doesn't grow back. I think they're the only species though from the island of New Caledonia that does not regenerate their tail. So Chihuahuas, Leachianus, gargoyles, they'll all regenerate their tail, but it won't be the same color as it was when they were born. It's usually like really drab and brown.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, crested geckos, it's usually an incubation thing. If the animal is incubated like really hot, especially if it got up to like 78, 80 degrees at any point during the incubation period, they're going to hatch out small and they're going to be absolutely batshit nuts. And they're going to be running around all over the place. And then they'll hiss at you. They'll gape at you. They'll open their mouth really wide. And then 9 times out of 10, they'll drop their tail. So that's how you, so when I never shy away from having people handle my animals because I know my incubation temps are low and I'm not worried about them dropping their tail. I just really I'm not. And so I'm not shy about it, but
Oh, wow.
you can always kind of tell if an animal is going to be a little nuts. And some animals can be spooked, but for the most part, I really think it has to do with incubation temps and them just that being their nature. Because they can incubate in 50 days at 80 degrees when normally, in my experience, it's 90 to 120 days.
Right.
So it's a far more rapid process at that time.
When did you figure that out? Like, as far as like, going with the cooler temps and that being more your style versus the hotter and them gasping and being crazy. Like did someone put you on game with that, or did you figure that out?
It was kind of one of those first things when I was getting into breeding. I would always ask people, you're like, what should I incubate at? And they would kind of tell you the schools of thought. But what was really nice is the Gilpins, Andrew and Sarah Gilpin of LAC Herps. They're known for doing Chihuahua geckos. They also do Cresteds, and they did an incubation study where they actually sacrificed clutches and incubated at really hot temperatures and really low temperatures to see, kind of what the results were from doing it that way. And so what they found was that at lower temperatures, you had calmer animals that had better structure, were larger overall, and just a healthier looking animal or more visually appealing for what you're breeding for. Whereas at the higher temperatures, what they found is the animals were more brightly colored, but you sacrificed things like them being a more petite animal, skinnier, and all of those good things.
Now I do know that there are complications easily with chondros when it comes to incubation. How's that going? How's that going with geckos? No matter what temp you cook them at, I mean, does that happen where some just don't make it quite often, or what's that like?
There's probably a few different. It's kind of like with chondros that at some point you're kind of just left scratching your head, like I don't know what went wrong and they just failed. But in a lot of instances, it's usually like a genetic defect. Sometimes if the eggs are disturbed in a really drastic way, like if you had to move or took a car ride and the eggs, the fluctuation in temperature was way too drastic all the time, right. That's probably another reason why. There's a number of reasons why they can fail. I've had eggs fail because they actually got too cold. So my temps dropped too much to where they actually got into like 68.
That would drop down to 68, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's your ideal temp? I'm sorry, I don't know if you said. What's your ideal temp for you?
72. Lock it in.
Okay. Lock it in. Got it. Nice.
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah. Just make sure you have
throughout the whole time, right? Like it's just 72 straight through?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. You really just have to lock it in at 72. And, you got to make sure there's ventilation because, similar to probably other eggs in their incubation process, they're absorbing from the relative atmosphere of the incubation chamber. And so, like, I've known people who have had issues with eggs when they used like a sealed container and there was no release. So it actually created like a pressure vacuum and it led to deformed babies. And so that's just one thing you have to be mindful of is I always poke a pinhole in the top of the incubation tray to facilitate just,
you mean the egg
pressure
tray?
release.
You mean the egg box, like the actual egg box itself?
Yeah. I mean, most gecko breeders actually use, do you go fishing? Do you like to fish?
Yeah, I love fishing. I mean, I'm not gonna say I go, but I'm real familiar with fishing.
Like a tackle box, like a lure organizer.
Right. Oh, they use
that?
So
we use that. We fill it with like aquatic soil. It's like pebbles, basically clay pebbles. And it neatly organizes your eggs. And That's cool. It's very permeable. So I just it's literally a pin and I just poke a hole.
Right.
Very, very easy. Very easy. I also have used sim containers though. That's actually what I used when I first got started. I saw it was like when they first got released, I was like, oh, that's what I need. So that's what I used.
But because of the amount of eggs, it's a lot more feasible in that tackle box type setup, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would use a sim container if they made it a little bit more conducive to how we organize our eggs, because like one sim container for monitors is good, right? Because they're going to take up the whole sim container, whereas, a crested gecko egg is just, plus because they're not like monitor eggs or like ball python eggs, because they're more prone to rolling, as with like snake eggs, they're more of like a sack. And so they kind of sit in there and they don't really move, but with gecko eggs, that's not so much the case. That was the issue that I had. And that's ultimately why I changed.
I mean, even with some snake eggs though, I mean, they could roll. I mean, chondro eggs are just so like, man, my heart race every time I'm even working with chondro eggs.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh
That's
my
how
God.
it is. That's how it is for us. So it's like, I had a buddy tell me, he's like, yeah, I had one bounce off the floor like a Tic Tac. And I was like, you're kidding. And he's like, no, I bounced off the floor like a Tic Tac, because it just rolled right out of his fingers. Thankfully, it didn't harm the egg, and the embryo was still intact, so you could incubate it. But yeah, it can get a little dicey.
And then the amount of what's the time frame? Once the egg go inside the incubator, about what day do they hatch?
Anywhere from 90 to 120. It just really depends on the animal. It depends on if you have a storm run roll through. I always get excited when it rains in the summer, because I know I'm going to get some hatchlings just because of the pressure change. So that's an exciting time for us. So it varies because of that. You never know when a storm's going to roll through and if it's going to be right at that peak time for them to pop out of the egg.
You live where again, Kevin? Remind me where you're from.
Illinois. I'm just an hour.
Oh,
I'm an hour and a half south of Tinley, actually. Yeah.
You excited for Tinley or what?
Oh my God, dude. I have been looking forward to it for so long. It's like Christmas. It's so exciting, especially since we started doing the venue and actually vending, getting to hang out at the hotel afterwards and chop it up with all the breeders. I mean, there's nothing like it.
I remember, like I said, man, I'll take it to my grave, bro. Like when I rolled out, I don't know where we were at. We went to a big dinner and I was just like, I don't know what I was, but I was like not tired, but I was just like I think I was super high. That's probably what it was. But anyways, yeah. I stumble out of the car and then I see Kenny just sitting there and I was like, oh, hell yeah. And that's when I walked over there and I said, what up to you guys? And kicked it with you guys for like that hour or whatever. And it was fun because as much as I thought, I was like, all right, because it was like around midnight around that time. So I was like, I think I'm gonna wind it down, but nah, dude, there's no winding down at Tinley, dude. You're fucking there's too many people to talk to. There's too much going on. There's too much FOMO. Like if you do go to your room, like it's just
right.
Like, it's epic, bro. I mean, it's work. Don't get me wrong, but it's fun work. It's like, I can't wait, man. I really can't. It's
I know. Fun. I'm looking forward to meeting more people. To be honest, my wife and I have been.
You want to know why I'm really excited, Kevin? Because there's no and knock on wood, holy shit. But there's no like talk of like shutting it down or like mask or like anything like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's on. You know what I mean? And like. We're
it's on and popping.
Yeah, it's fucking on and popping, and I feel like it's getting more like back to that normalcy. Yeah. And dude, it's telling you, get your ass to a Tinley, get your ass to a super show. I mean, you go to Pomona. Do you go to super shows too?
Oh fuck yeah! We actually went and vetted the show. Two buddies of mine who I vend with. We actually went out there and we're like, we gotta go check out the California scene because we were looking for new shows to do.
Right.
And we went out to Pomona, or actually not Pomona. We went to Anaheim, and dude, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. The weather out there is just top tier. You can't beat it. I mean, especially being from Illinois, it's trash.
Are you coming to Trap Fest 2022?
If I snag that invite, I will.
Your Patreon family, all Patreon
I'm there.
Members.
Of course, I'm there.
You might. Kenny. I know you're not one to tell people where you're going, but I'm sorry, I'm too excited. Kenny might be pulling up to this barbecue, just so you know. It's
word. Kenny's coming to. He's coming to Chicago in the summertime. He's gonna introduce me to the retip game. He said he's gonna have me work with the big ones, man. I'm excited.
There's no better mentor when it comes to big snakes than Kenny. Kenny is the man, bro. Like, and I don't need to tell you this. You already know it. But yeah, man, if you can get your ass July 7th, it's going
All right.
down. And the cool thing is it's the week of Anaheim Super Show. So the actual Super Show is that weekend. So that's the reason why I'm having it on a Thursday is because Friday I want to do the whole show experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Anaheim's going to be huge. So I'll definitely keep you more informed as we get closer. But, you know, your wife's obviously invited. It's going to be an amazing time, bro.
Oh, man.
I'm going to take care of you guys as I should. And it's going to be great.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, let me ask you this.
All right.
You know, what is your game plan here, Kevin, with vending? I mean, do you feel like you want to get to the point of production where you're vending more often, or do you trying to do vending more of a blue moon type of thing? And while you answer this, I'm going to use it to take a piss. I can hear what you're saying.
Yeah, no doubt. So I actually want to do it. I actually want to be like, I listen to the Justin's podcast actually a lot. I take a lot of what I do and I try to emulate ball python breeders because I feel like they have really elevated the professionalness of the reptile industry to like a whole new level. And like Justin and Miguel are at the forefront of that. And I know Miguel doesn't do the shows, but the way Justin does it, where he is not necessarily bringing stuff for sale, but he's just bringing his most current and top tier animals, is the way that I want to do it. I really want to be able to have my best of the best breeders, and then I want to have my best holdbacks. And then if somebody comes through and wants to spend $4,000 on one of the animals I have behind the table, that's awesome. But I'm there to meet people and I want to network and I want you to ask me questions about my animals and I want you to be like, why should I invest in your project and where do you see it going? You know, I want it to be a trade show. I don't want it to be a selling fest. That's where I see it going.
And that's such a great mindset to have because like you can't determine who's going to go and spend money at that show. It's very like trendy.
Right.
It's very hit or miss. So if you just go with like, how many people can I link up with and how many people can I talk to? Because dude, I can't even tell you how many times I've been to a show, been at so-and-so's table and then went home and I bought something from them right after that. I was like, hey,
exactly.
I just bought this, bro. Just so you know, can you send that to me? Oh yeah, no problem. That's what, dude, that's what all these seasoned experienced breeders, that's what their lifestyle is having someone just randomly like, hey, I'll buy that from you for $3,000. It's been sitting on your website. All right, cool. Like once you have all this heat and you're just not stressing about selling it and you're not like, so like, I got to sell this much at a show. Like, dude, that shit, it's about timing and hard work and your shit getting put out there. Like, you got to just keep building a name. And people think it's such as easy as just, you know, putting $100K in and then next year trying to make $100K. You're tripping. No, like, you're nuts. I'm sorry, you're nuts. You know
what? There's this joke. I got into boas. I have a IMG Motley Jungle Het Call, and then I have a Hypo Blood 66% Het Sharp. And so we're just shelving our females. But anyways, the joke among boa breeders is like, there's always this meme that I see, and it's like, I'm expecting 4 litters, and they're like, your ass you are, you know. It's the Jason Bateman, because it's the truth. You can't count what you have before it happens. You can't do it. And so if you put in $100K and you're expecting to make $200K and recoup your whole investment, you don't know what's going to happen that next year. You could have animals not hit weight. You could have animals not ovulate. You could have a male not prove out. All of these things can happen. And so you just have to be in it because you love the animals and you enjoy spending time doing it. I can't hear you. I'm not hearing anything.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I literally paired up boas for the last 3 years and just now got my first like ovulation. Everything's looking good.
Awesome.
But I was like, dude, this boa stuff's not as easy as the ball pythons. But
yeah,
I'm also only pairing one snake, you know, like ball pythons. I have 20 opportunities, you know what I mean? So that's why at the end of the day, like people are like, oh man, I'm not getting luck with this. Well, how much stuff are you working with? Well, just this one pair. Dude, like you don't like, how do you know if that female can even produce for you or if that male dicks even work? Like, how do you even know any of this? Like it's a numbers game, dude. Like, I mean, that's why people also like, you know, they think, well, give me a pair like that I can make money off. I can't do that. Like, I'm not like,
Right.
I have people like literally ask me the most dumbest shit like that. Like, how give me 2 snakes that I can make like this amount of money on. I'm like,
Right.
dude, I can't. I was like, well, how'd
Their
you do
head's not
it?
in the right space.
Yeah, like they asked me, how'd you do it? I'm like, hey, I'm not doing it. Like, I mean, I'm only now making a profit, if you even want to say it. I'm not even making a profit because I'm putting it right back into the business. I'm buying Freedom Breeder racks. I'm buying 16 fucking, I already bought 16 Focus Cube habitat closures. Like, dude, like it's anything I'm making is basically going back in or going into something else. You know what I mean? So, and I feel like that's because I'm not settling for whatever's happening this year. I'm trying to make shit happen 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
Right.
Like my mindset is in 2025, 2026. And like, and what's already happened right now, already premeditated in 2018. That's why it's like, it's already happening. There's nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all about setting shit up for the next years ahead. That's why people need to get the fuck out of their whole, like, let me make money in the first 2 years. Dude, it's not about that. It should be the first 5, 6 years. Like then you could expect some change. If you're doing it right. Like
if you're doing it right.
If you're doing it right, and if luck is on your side, dude, things have to land in your lap. Like some people get put in the ringer, bro. Some people have really bad luck. And whatever it is, like it's just like, wow, like that's happened to you, and it's like. And it could really happen to anyone. You just don't know. Like there's nothing guaranteed in this, bro. Like that's why I love it. That's why I love this shit.
Yeah, for sure.
You're always going to be thrown a curveball at some point, and you got to
you get what you give. And that's like the most cliche line that I could say, but it is. You get what you give, especially to your animals. And if you put your time in and you really put the care and you pay attention, things might probably go your way a lot better than they normally would in all other instances. Because if you're looking at an animal with dollar signs, you're not thinking about what that animal needs from you. You're thinking about what you need from that animal at that time, and it's all skewed. And so that energy, like I'm a big energy person. I read energy on people, and like you have to put all that good energy into your animals, and you'll probably get it back. But yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, the reason that I think you also surrounded yourself with people who didn't have that mindset of like, I'm about the here and now. I'm already thinking about 4 years down the road. They've already been planning. They've already been, they're not thinking about this. This is just running through the motions today because I had this planned out 3 years ago. I had all this time to plan it. I just got to put it into action. I'm worried about 5 years down the road. Like I ask my friends all the time, do you have your 2025 pairings lined up? Like what males do you have growing up? What females do you have growing up? Which way are you going? Like what line are you looking to incorporate? And I've had some friends like, oh dude, I'm just worried about this year. And you can't think like that, at least in my opinion. Like I have males, I have nothing going on with them right now, but I know in 2 years I will. I know in 3 years I will. So it's you got to be patient and you got to do it because you love it. Because if you think you're going to be making a whole ton of money doing it, at the end of the day, you have to do it because you love it.
And let me ask you this: I didn't really get to touch on this, but how is your holdback game approach? Like when you have an egg and it's like like what is your instant eye looking for? Like what are you looking for right off the bat? Like can you feel
I actually posted one today on my Instagram. But you're looking for you're looking at the parents and then you're looking for color quality right out of the egg. And then you have to know
something that's popping already, basically.
Yeah. So like you have to know the line though, too. It's kind of like what you were talking. Yeah. So like this line is known for its really high white sides. And I'm just looking for the whitest animal out of the egg possible, because that's just what the goal of the project is just to increase the cleanliness of the white, to make it like paper stark white. And if it comes out of the egg like that, it's probably only going to get better as an adult. But there are some genes where you have to hold the animal onto the animal for 15, 20 grams because it's a slow mature. There's this white spot gene, basically. That's what we all call it. But basically it doesn't show itself until that point. You can't see it on your animal and you can't anticipate it. And the only way you really can do it is by knowing the parents. And that's why lineage is so important and record keeping is so important because of that gene, because it's the most popular gene on the market right now.
I want to talk about something. I want your opinion on it.
Yeah, what's up?
It's going to get you into a little bit of hot water, maybe. I don't know. Who cares?
Okay.
Because I'm curious, because if it's one thing as I'm starting to, meet more gecko breeders and shit like that, as every other fucking chondro community, ball python community, there's drama. You know what I mean? There's people talking, right? So I'll tell you, I'll give you a scenario. There's one scenario where somebody was selling geckos at a weight that was just uncalled for. And I'm just curious if that's something that you should be aware for a lot as a first-time buyer. Like, is there a certain gram that a gecko should be before it's sold to somebody and that kind of thing? Like, and that, because dude, it's same shit with chondros. Like, people buy a chondro that they may look good to them, but it's really fucked up and they don't know what to look for. So what is that like, as far as that goes?
From my personal, I can only speak about what I do and what my camp of people do, because we're all like-minded individuals at the end of the day, because you really can only fuck with people who you agree with, right? I really push the animal has to be at least 4 to 5 grams and has to have at least 3 or 4 sheds under its belt and is eating insects on its own on a regular basis. You can sell a small animal, but you can tell an animal that's a month old. Like that animal that we just looked at was like a month and a half, 2 months old. That's way too small. That animal's not thriving on its own. It can still have shedding issues. It can still have all kinds of issues. And the stress of shipping, what if that animal gets delayed? What if that animal gets too hot?
I was going to ask you that. How are these being shipped? Obviously you hear about ball python packages being held out all the time. And I've had some held up for more than 3 days, 2 days, 3 days sometimes, and they've made it. Are these something more than dead if they get held up, or can they make it too? What's it like?
I think it's on the onus of the person packing it at the end of the day. When it comes to shipping, I really don't like to ship at anything colder overnight than 40 degrees. And at that point, I'm using a heat pack, but I'm also using a phase 22 pack, because I'm thinking that the heat pack with the phase 22 pack, it's going to have that happy medium temperature, which is what they thrive at, which is room temperature. And so they can go, a couple days, especially if it's not too hot out. But if you're shipping in June or July, that animal has to be to the doorstep within a day, or you're in hot water and it's going to happen fast. And that animal might cook in the box.
Damn.
Yeah.
And so just like anything else, shipping's scary.
It's so scary. I just had a friend who got an animal and it was DOA. And I've been hearing a lot of DOAs lately, to where a lot of people in the community are even making it a precedent to have it. You have to pick it up at the hub or you're not getting the animal. And that's the hard line that a lot of us are having to make. And yes, it's not as convenient, but it's not about you, man. It's about the animal. Yeah.
I've actually had to refund a couple people because they were so impatient about, because they're, some actually in Illinois, they're like, they kept sending me screenshots of their temps. I'm like, I was like, your warmest day is 28 degrees. I was like, I'm not sending a snake. And then they're like, you're not really holding up to what you promised. I was like, what did I promise you? It's like, I'm just like, here, and I have very little patience with that, only because I'm not in this for the money. So I have no problem refunding somebody. I'll hit it quicker than they probably expected. Here's your fucking money back. Get the fuck away from me right now. I don't, because you're more likely that person's gonna be a headache down, continuously down the road. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's another reason why being in this without a money hunger mentality is you could really be picky and choosy with who you want to sell your animals.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, and you're gonna gain more clients at the end of the day by having that mentality and telling your clients that story, and everybody that you want to work with and is gonna be good to work with is gonna be like, good for you, man. I respect it, because they're all about the animal's welfare. And if they can't get it through their head that if it's cold for me, how is it not cold near deathly freezing for an ectotherm, something that needs a heat source? You know, it just doesn't compute, you know, and that animal, maybe it wouldn't have ended up in a good situation because they can't even rationalize why it's not safe to ship. What kind of environment were they going into? Not to say I know the person or not, because they could be a reliable keeper, but it just makes me raise questions, you know. That's just what comes to my mind.
And this is why I'm always so okay with not getting myself overworked with the amount of things I produce, because I do not want to have to resort to either wholesaling. I don't want to have to resort to just like, hey man, like, you know, like I'm desperate, let me sell this to you. You know what I mean? Like and some people produce so many snakes where they don't give two shits who the hell that snake goes to. They're like fucking like, dude, who, you know, like almost like an importer mentality. Like, here, it's fucking just came from here. I'll get it out of here. Like, I don't want it here. And I don't know. And there's so many different avenues to how you want to take this hobby. And I just want to keep having fun, Kevin. That's it, you know, and you know, and it's not always fun. Yeah, you know, deaths and things happen, and you know, there is a little bit of drama within everyone's collection, but you always find the reason to just keep going and having a good time, you know, and I always find the better in things, no matter what happens in this altogether. You know what I mean? You have to.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting, you know, it's a topic of conversation that comes up with my friends, because sometimes you just really want to let people have it and let them know how you're feeling. And then you have to remember that you are also trying to be as professional as possible, and that for every bad review, there's going to be 100 other people that they tell that they had that bad experience. And so that's that fine line that you have to walk. But yeah, I mean, I'm the same way as you. I'm quality over quantity. I think I have 150 animals total at home, including like my holdbacks, my grow outs. That's what I'm comfortable with. I work 40 hours a week. I run another business with my father, and I'm married, got 2 dogs, got a bunch of other animals, friends. You know, I'd like to start working out again because everything's getting lax. So, I mean, it's, you know, there's just not enough time in the day to, you know, be trying to just push geckos. I mean, I just can't do it. So you just got to keep it high quality. You got to keep it manageable, because their lives, you know, I can't tell you how guilty I feel if it's like, I haven't checked on the animals yet today. Like, what if something's up? And then I'll be up till 2 a.m. because I can't go to sleep without knowing that my animals are well cared for. I just can't. I just care too much.
And I'm just saying, if you are going to be at a level of like mass production, like you need, and I'm going to say you don't need to, but you need to experience a place like Canova. Go to Justin Kabelka's place. There's not one snake he keeps that you would not want to have. It's fucking, it's filled with holdbacks that are so just mind-blowing. And I'm just, dude, I'm so inspired to where Kevin, to where Justin has that facility where he's done with it. He is a true example on where things could take you if you're dedicated, you're devoted, and you don't switch up. The man is just like, oh man. And you know, and I also see people following his footsteps, just their own direction. You know, you have people like Miguel. You know, you have other people in that caliber. But at the end of the day, if you were to look at Justin Kabelka on the tree of ball pythons, his branch is so high, it's ridiculous. Like I'm telling you, like no offense to any of my ball python homies out there who are grinding, killing it, but nobody's touching Justin Kabelka.
No, there's no way.
Not even a little bit. And he deserves that kind of push, because he's been doing it since he was a freaking kid in college. He's gangster. I love Justin, bro.
And he loves it. He loves it. He geeks out about this stuff. When you talk to him, he's like, yeah, I'm super excited about this project. You know, we're buying into this project. Like, he's not sitting back on his laurels, and it's because he loves it. Like, he wants to see the coolest shit he can make. He's an artist. He wants to see his visions come to life. Like I can't express it in any other way than that. And like my buddy Dorian of the Royal Clutch, he was at his facility.
Dorian, that's the homie. Shout out to Dorian.
Yeah, Dorian's my guy.
He
was at his facility and he didn't even tell me. And I saw the YouTube video and he's like, I was like, you got to go to Canova? And he's like, yeah, and it was sick. He's like, we were just opening tubs. He doesn't care. It's all immaculate and everything is like at the forefront of the project, whatever it is. And like your vlog that you did from there just really hammered that home. Just everything is impeccable. And it's because he also takes care of his staff. Like he hires good people. Dude. And that's also really important.
So you want to know the way this is one thing I noticed when I walked in, okay? Because I walked in, I just walked into the place and they're feeding. It's Chase and Justin. Mm-hmm. So they're just feeding. I walk in and, I know Chase. I wouldn't say I know like Chase where we hug and shit, but Chase knows who I am, right?
Yeah.
But like Chase did not stop working. Like, most people, like if I had my buddy working for me and like you or Justin Gabelka showed up, everyone would stop working. Hey, let's all go chat and like, you know what I mean? But Chase was like, hey, what's up, guys? Like he said hi from where he was at and he just kept working. And like, I was like, bro, respect. Like it's like, it's not to say Justin and Chase aren't friends, but you could see the business relationship between the two. And that's hard to get. That's hard to find when you have someone who divides the line of when we should be all buddy and when we should be like, I'm here to work.
Needs to get done.
And I saw that. I paid attention. And that's why I'm nowhere near ready to have my own employee yet, because I'm just, oh God, I would let my employee do whatever the fuck he wants. And that's just not what you do. So actually, no, I wouldn't. But I'm just saying, I don't know. I do respect what's going on. And I do know that it's just the beginning. As far as Justin has gone and taken this brand, it's just a beginning for him, which that's why I'm excited. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's just starting.
Oh, yeah.
And it's awesome because I'm hearing that about a lot of other things. I'm hearing that about the Gecko game. I'm hearing that about just like insect games, bro. Like things are just blowing up all around. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, dude. The isopod game right now is bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers right now.
So let me ask you this, Kevin. If you're in a position where you could dabble into something else other than the geckos, what is and boas, other than those, what are some what's something else out there that's like catching your attention and you're like, you know what, maybe someday,
My wife would say what isn't catching his attention as far as animals.
There has to be the top one. Like
I geek out about this stuff and I'm really torn. I love the boas. But I want to experience ball pythons. And like, I think it was you and it might've been someone else that they were talking and it was like, what's wrong with a ball python? Some people need something that's got more attitude or whatever, but like, what's wrong with having a snake that's not going to mess you up and that is like, is easy to take care of, but, has all this genetic potential and you can really let your creativity run. That's one thing that lacks with crested geckos that I find myself craving is genetics. I want to be producing double, triple heads. I want to play the odds game. I want to do all that stuff.
And people need to realize ball python is purchased based off the visual, not off the attitude, not off like, it climbs. No, it's a visual purchase and it's something you can hold. A lot of things that are beautiful in life, you can't touch or hold. You know what I mean? And this is something that like, dude, it's eye candy to the next level. It makes it feel like you're like hallucinating. You're just like, what is this? This is
totally
nuts. And it's only getting more nuttier. But that's why I love it, man. Like, this is why like it's never going to stop, knock on wood. I'm just saying like, it's only going to get hotter. But I mean, the ball python game, I'm glad you said that. I mean, at this point, what would be a time frame for you for like, I mean, are you just waiting for the right opportunity maybe, or are you just like, something you rather do at a later stage in your career?
No, I'll be conducting some interviews at Tinley. Let's just put it that way. I'm kind of excited about the zebra gene. I think there's some opportunity there. I've been also bugging my buddy about puzzle. I am interested to see what this voodoo gene is and see if it's related to the tornado out in the UK. So there's, I mean, when people say that like ball pythons aren't going anywhere. Like you got to get it. Everybody's got to get it through their head. They're not going anywhere.
That would be the last snake to go anywhere because how popular it is in Petco, how popular it is at all these mainstream big corporation Geckos that don't really support us, but they like what sells, and ball pythons sell for them. So no.
Well, like I was even listening to an interview with Ozzy the other day, and Ozzy was like, he was like, people have stuff just randomly popping up in their collection too. So like, who's to say we're just not gonna? The genes might just not end. They just might new weird stuff that does slightly different things will keep going forward. So I mean, I think I'm not really worried about it. I used to be, but if everybody loves it, it wouldn't go anywhere. So why would I feel weird about putting my money into it? So yeah, ball pythons, and then I'd really like to work with a big monitor species. I have a rhino iguana right now.
That's awesome.
And
you're so smart. Those rhinos.
He is extremely smart. Let's put it that way. And you can tell they're thinking. Their eyes dilate when they're really thinking, and they do their head bobs, and he like vocalizes through his nose and chuffs. And
now what does what does the head bob mean with the rhino iguana?
He's sizing you up.
Okay. So it's not really that's not really a good thing then.
No.
Okay.
We've come to better terms though. He's eating out of my hand now, which is a really good start. I can't get him out of the enclosure yet, but it's a work in progress. I mean, with such a smart animal, you have to build trust, just like you're doing with your laces.
Does he run from you?
Does he run from me? He kind of does. He bluffs.
What kind of enclosure? What is he in?
He's in his rescue enclosure still. So after Tinley, we're buying him enclosure from Tamura Designs. A really big 8-foot by 4-foot by 4-foot, so he'll be able to have more avenues. But right now,
he'll probably get more comfortable coming out if he's in a huger, bigger enclosure. He's territorial right now. He feels safe in that enclosure. He doesn't want nothing to hurt him, and it's going to be like that until you get him out of that enclosure. Unfortunately,
yeah. He doesn't. He's not aggressive, and like that's what I try to tell my wife. Like she's like, he's aggressive, like blah blah blah. I was like, honey, he's just scared. Like that's all he is. He's not even trying to hurt me. He's bluffing at me to where he like hits and then he retreats, and then he hits and then he retreats. He's just like, dude, leave me alone. I'm freaking out. Like that's all it is. They're so smart. So if I could have something challenging like a lace or I really like Spencer's monitors too. I think they're awesome,
bro. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I mean, with all due respect, I have a lot of good monitor homies, and I've experienced some stuff with some of the best monitors, in my opinion. And I could tell you that what I work with right now, in my humble opinion, if it's even humble, nothing's better than a lace, bro. The lace, something about the laces that are just so amazing, and I'm so glad I chose lace. I'm not going to do anything else but a lace when it comes to big monitors, because also monitors a lot of work too. Like obviously I'm doing my thing with the snakes, but I would never do what I'm doing with the snakes with the monitors. You're not going to come over to my house. I'm not going to have 50, 60 monitors. Never. I don't even need to knock on wood on that. I already know I don't want that life. It's not going to happen. But dude, these things. I mean, if you want to talk about such a, I mean, you have the rhino iguana, so you know the relationship that you're establishing and building that you really can't get from something so small as a gecko or something even like a ball python. Or snakes don't give two shits about you. They just want to get away from you, And some of them, the thing is, people feel like, oh, like I'm bonding with my snake. Your snake tolerates you. That's just all it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they do at some point want to be put away. Snakes are snakes that just want to be left alone. That's their MO. Leave me alone. I tell you, I don't even care what you say. That's why they do so good in captivity, because they just leave them alone, But a monitor, man, especially a bigger one, Asian water monitors, man, they're like real dogs. Like they're a reptile shaped dog, and it's I love it, man. I'm telling you right now. Once that time happens, Kevin, you're gonna like really become a different person once you get a monitor. I'm telling you right now. It's amazing. Take your time, obviously. There's no rush. And I'll be more than happy to kind of, I mean, Kenny, you already know you're in a good circle. You already know where you should go. Man, good for you. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, so it's John, right? John and Alex. That's
John and
Sims.
Alex.
So
That's where
yeah. John actually let me hold a lace last Tinley.
nice.
And
The normal?
No.
The bell face?
Was it? It
Was
might
it
have been
black-
a normal.
the
I think it was
black stripe on it?
Yeah, it was a normal.
Okay, cool.
But like I still geeked out because it's like my dream animal. Like ever since I saw one, I was like, this is just the coolest thing. And so John is just the nicest guy. And I walked up to his booth and I saw he had a lace, and I was like, it was the end of the show and everybody had left. And I was like,
Right.
do you mind if I hold it? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. And he like puts it right on my arm. And it was just the coolest thing. So it's a must have at some point. Just gotta get that enclosure set up.
Space is the number one thing, man. And
yeah, they're big.
I'm literally at the point. I mean, they're at their last stage of a grow out enclosure, and my after the 16 3x2x2s that I have from Focus Cube, they're building me a custom enclosure for Mac Dre and Alice. Since I'm not going to be putting them outside no more, they're going to be inside, and it's just going to be all custom. It's going to be huge. I'm still doing an 8x6x6, so it's going to be humongous. It's going to be
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, man. And but it's just something I respect. Like, I respect these monitors so much to where I would never want to overload my plate where I can't give this much attention. Like, I feel like I should give them this much attention, and I always want to do it. So, but I'm excited for you, man. I can't wait. I have a wrap-up question for you, Kevin, before we get into the questions. Okay. If anyone were to invest into any, like, for instance, I want to ask you right now, what is the most popular gecko to invest in at this point? If somebody were to come in or go to a show, what's the you feel like it's the number one invested gecko right now?
If I had the money to do it, I would still be chasing the melanistic Mount Kogus, either Troger or Friedels. The reason I say that though is because I'm always trying to do best by people, and like, you should spend money with me, but like, as far as like if you could do anything, I would go with it because they take 3 years to mature. They're a lot harder to breed than a crested gecko is, so the value is there. It's a true recessive gene, and so the value is in the generation time. And plus, it works really nice with color. So you can cross it into high color offspring and make these awesome high color stuff. Or if you want to go high white, you can produce these high white Oreo looking geckos. And the tip of the iceberg is still there. A hatchling is still going for $6,000.
Yeah.
If not more. If you want to buy a ready to breed animal, you're spending $10,000, if not more. And they'll tear each other to shreds. That's the thing. That's the kicker. They'll kill each other, and they won't bat an eye. And so when people pair them and go about doing it, I think that's also something that actually holds value in that project, is that these animals will kill each other, and you won't be able to do anything to do it. You can't do anything. One's dead. So that's what I would do. That's the one gecko. Other than that, you have like your high white Chihuahua. That's what I'm getting into. They're awesome. They're such an amazing animal. They look like stormtroopers. They're sweet.
Damn. You know the homie Michael from Chihuahua Chamber?
Yeah, Michael is like at the forefront of that project. He produces some heat.
That dude's player as fuck. I like that guy.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. There's quite a few people. Actually, the guy that I gave you a referral to, Brian, he produces, like, he calls them super whites, and they're like almost entirely covered in white. They're awesome. But he works with everything.
I was going to ask you, I know this is a wrap-up question for the wrap-up question, but who's the one, if you were to compare anyone in the gecko game comparable to a Kabelka, or somebody on their way, or somebody making ground as like a Kabelka in the gecko game, who would that be, you feel like?
It really depends on the species, and I don't want to omit anybody, but like the OG of the OG is Steve Smelly of Leap and Leechies. He's like the Barchek. He is the guy who's got every locale, and he's producing them at a crazy high number.
What's his name?
Steve Semelli.
Is that his name on Instagram? Semelli?
So he's on Facebook and Instagram. It's CEMELLI, I think. But he's like the Barcheck of. He actually has a video with Barcheck talking about Leachianus. But he's like the godfather of Leachianus. And then, as far as like,
here's an Instagram with no post. That's cool.
As far as like Chihuahua, I would say Brian Susan of Sundown Reptiles, or I would talk to Tracy Saltmarsh of Phantom Dragons. She's out on the West Coast by you. She knows what she's talking about.
You're gonna have to send it.
And her husband are awesome, and they're very knowledgeable. And then for like Crested Geckos, I would talk to the Morph King himself, Brian Butler. He's Altitude Exotics. He was the first one to bring in Axanthics to the country. He got them from the UK. He's working with the Translucents right now. Like he's really doing big things. He's investing into the morphs. Like I'm not a morph guy. I'm a selectively bred high white guy. But as far as like, if you want cutting edge, like I would talk to Brian Butler. Like he's got a YouTube. He's pretty big on TikTok, but he put, I mean, I'm just gonna speculate, but right now the Translucents are going for $27,000. That's kind of what they're going for, and he brought in I think 6 of them to the country, so he's pretty player.
And I like player. I like player type activity. You feel me?
Yeah, he's pretty player when it comes to putting his money where his mouth is and producing the best of the best.
Damn, bro. Well, honestly, this is probably one of the best Gecko podcasts I've done. I'm not gonna lie. This was heat.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Now listen, hot seat questions coming at you, so chill out.
All right.
Okay, you're not done yet.
All right.
Do me a favor, Kevin. Don't fuck this up by making these lag. Okay, let's pump these
I
out.
won't pull a Jordan. I promise.
Please, no Jordan activities here. No always evolving Pythons Canada. You ready for this or what, Kevin?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. So, hot seat questions for my man. Fireside Geckos coming in hot. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Frozen Thought or live?
Live.
A cut or no cut?
No cut.
Favorite gecko species?
Crested.
Red chondroneo or yellow chondroneo?
Red.
Pre-first shed meal or post-first shed meal?
Post shed.
Yay imports or boo imports?
Yay imports.
Number one reptile you would love to import?
Legal or non-legal?
Doesn't matter. Just number one. If you could import any animal right now, what would it be?
Probably a Fiji banded iguana.
Damn. One reptile we should never import.
Pretty much any tortoise species. Close your eyes and point.
Leave them alone. Or Komodos. Leave the Komodos alone too.
Yeah, true.
To miss a reptile or to not miss the reptile?
Missed.
Sports or no sports?
Sports.
Favorite sport?
Basketball.
Favorite basketball team?
The Bulls.
The Bulls. Kobe or Jordan?
Kobe, man.
Damn, respect.
He's my generation. I'm 28. I grew up Kobe.
Kobe's forever right there.
We miss him.
Jordan, yeah, I miss Kobe too. Jordan was my era, and then so was Kobe. But then Kobe like changed my life. Like
Go ahead. The really sad part about like the whole Kobe thing is like it's kind of like LeBron. You like love to hate him, and then when he's gone, you're like, damn, Kobe's really gone. Like he's really gone.
It sucks. Big flexor, no flexor.
Flex.
Steak or fish?
Steak.
Favorite cut of steak?
New York strip.
Nice. How would you prepare that?
Medium rare.
Respect.
Yeah.
Yay alcohol or boo alcohol?
Boo alcohol.
Respect. I like that. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen.
Respect. Tupac or Biggie?
Biggie.
Little word association. First thing to come to mind. Milk.
Is it bad if I said milk?
If that's what you think of.
Oreos.
Okay. Cocoa.
Fiber.
Substrate.
Cocoa.
Stuck shed.
Hate it.
Mites.
Never.
Ovulation.
Always a good thing.
FedEx shipping.
Terrifying.
First time gecko keeper.
Message me.
Most expensive gecko ever sold.
$4,000.
Instagram trolls.
Hate them.
If you had to get rid of one platform forever, and I mean forever, is it going to be Facebook or Instagram?
Facebook, without a doubt.
My man. Kevin, this was an amazing time. You straight killed this shit. We had about over 60 people at one point. Likes are up to over 60. 100 to 100% view to like ratio. What do you have to say to all your supporters out there? Everyone rooting for you. What do you got to show? What do you got to say to everyone showing you love tonight, bro?
I just got to say thank you to everybody, to be honest. I mean, this is like a dream come true, chopping it up with MJ and getting to do this for a living. I mean, I love animals and I always have, but the fact that so many people want to help support me do that just means the world to me. So I can never thank you enough for supporting me on this journey and showing so much love, because I couldn't do it without you. I mean, I just couldn't. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you. And to everybody coming to Tinley, make sure you stop by the table and grab some swag. Grab some swag. We will be out in full force.
You know what I'm bringing you, Kevin?
Huh?
Swag.
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
You know you're getting a special edition Trap Talk Pocket T-shirt, my man.
go.
Trapping is a sport. Trapping is not for everyone, but trapping's for you, my man. So
let's go.
Make sure, what is your shirt size? Let me get this. What are you?
I'm a 2X. What are you?
I'm an XL. I keep that shit nice and husky.
I got you.
Right, cool. Swap it. We'll swap it at the show.
Let's swap it.
Swap it at the show.
Sticker swaps are for the fakes.
Fuck that. We swap shirts, motherfucker. We don't do this. We swap it. We swap in dubs. Hey, bro, listen. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Cannot wait to have a conversation with you, probably in front of the hotel, just like it was last time.
Yes.
I will have heavy blunts. I will have heavy microdoses. It's going to happen. So just be ready, okay?
Yes, sir.
Enjoy the rest of your night, Kevin, and I will see you this week.
Awesome. Thanks, MJ. Right, have a good night.
Fireside Geckos, ladies and gentlemen. All right, big dog. I'll see you this week. Later, bro.
Yes.
What a guy. Whew. Amazing time. Amazing gecko knowledge. I'm getting more inspired. I feel like I just don't know what, am I a Cholula hula guy? Or am I a Leachianis guy? Got to figure it out, because we already know if I do get into geckos, I'm tossing it to Lily. That's her project. I got keep the cooler stuff as far as like temperatures. Lily likes to stay cooler. I like to stay hotter. So yeah, we'll see what happens. You never know what I'm going to get into going to Tinley. Tinley's fucking about to go down. Oh, man, I'm so excited. Anyways, guys, thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to anyone who dropped a super chat. You guys are mad loved. Thank you for all the viewers, man. You guys are awesome. Make sure you hit that like button for my man, Kevo, before you dip out. If you happen to come in late, it's never too late to hit the like button for my man. So hit that like button if you enjoyed the episode. Hit that like button if you're fucking with the podcast. Hit the like button if you're ready for the Tinley Week podcast going down this Friday night. Okay, so instead of Trap Talk being on Thursday night, Trap Talk's going down Friday. It's going to go down a little late, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, but it's going to be one you're going to want to stay up for, the late show type shit. But guess what? I have some of the industry's best, some of the industry's finest sitting down with us this Friday night. And guess what? We are not talking about ball pythons. Nope. Dude, mark my words. No ball python talk going down. This is going to be strictly industry talk, strictly money talk, strictly futuristic type shit talk, branding, all that stuff. It's very important. I feel like anyone who's very passionate about wanting to do things in this hobby for longevity purposes, you're not going to want to miss this episode. I'm telling you right now, the future is solid with these three guys, and you're going to want to tap in. Coolest reptile podcast in the world. Thank you again so much. I appreciate you guys' support. Again, to all my Patreon members, I will see you guys in about 7 minutes or so. If you want to tap in with us, we have a Trap Talk Zoom session for all my Patreon members going down at 6 o'clock my time, so in like 7-ish minutes. But you have to go join the family. There's a link within the page. Hop in with us, and I'll see you guys in a minute, man. But thank you to all the gecko people. Thank you to all the ball python people, green tree people, all the reptile people. If you are here tapping in for my man Kevin, I appreciate you. But enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and I will see you motherfuckers at Tinley. Oh, wait, hold on. I got a podcast tomorrow. Wait, chill out. Calm down. Don't leave. I do have a podcast tomorrow. I want to give a special shout out to my Patreon members who've been good homies of mine for like at least the last year. Been making a lot of good traction in the game, ball python game. So tomorrow, new breeder on the block series, we have this lovely couple, Portuguese pythons in the building. Let's show some support. These guys are very passionate about the ball python game. They are doing things right. I cannot wait to dig in this episode tomorrow, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Tap in, coolest reptile podcast in the world. I got to go take a piss. I got to go tap in my Patreon members, and I'm out. Cheers.